Fintech Chatter Podcast, brought to you by Tier 1 People, the leaders in executive search for Fintech ventures.
Mist is a mobile app on iOS, on Android, that is designed to help the international students who are migrating around the world to move, settle, live. So we are aiming to build a product that makes the pre-departure process, the administration, all of the challenges that they have to go through a lot easier for them. And then within the app, we have embedded finance products and a whole range and suite of features and products that are suitable for the students as they embark on their international education journey.
I guess probably this was born originally from my own move from the UK to Australia. It hasn't changed that much from 20 years ago. You know, I moved from the UK to Australia first time in 2007, roughly around there, and albeit with a, trying to open my banking, trying to get things. I was banking with HSBC. Yeah. Stupidly thought HSBC, they're the world's global bank, right? So, or the world's local bank, they were advertising themselves as. But none of, Bank in Australia and Bank HSBC in the UK spoke to each other. Yeah. Then I had the opportunity, went back to the UK, got a role with ANZ Bank, and was looking after essentially their sort of retail operation that was overseas, but was, helping out Australians who were in the UK that had lost debit cards and were in a bit of strife, and B, this sort of cottage industry. How do we help people migrating to open their accounts? So we got into that market, and the very short story is within a few years and the strategies that we'd put in place, we were literally helping thousands and thousands of people open their banking and fund their accounts before they arrived. I then had the opportunity to come back to Australia, working as one of the original team at Volt Bank. I knew Stevie Weston from the UK, and he invited me to come back here to do that. And look, was building the same sort of concept and operation out. COVID hit. Volt went one direction. I decided that I wanted to still scratch this itch and go in another direction, and hence where Mist was born.
We got introduced by a mutual friend, and we met in the pub.
We did.
And we had a chat. JC was sort of explaining to me about this business he was building, and I got very excited about this sort of mega niche of international students and the opportunity to build a really meaningful product in this space. And so shortly after that, I joined the business.
As I said, originated from my own experience of being able to open an account. And when I then was building this out offshore, just seeing the absolute appetite for a person moving to Australia to be able to say, I want to set up as many things as I physically can, but actually then being able to sort their banking account and other things as well. But when I got here, I started to then, when I got back here with the Volt experience, I then started talking to people like the education institutions, the education agents, and the student doesn't qualify for Medicare, so they've all got to sort things like overseas health cover. Yeah. All these things they needed to put into place before they even apply for their visa. So it was dawning on me that it was like, well, okay, well, there's two ends of the scale here. One is they've got to pay for the deposit for their education. Could be $5,000-$10,000 before they even apply for their visa. Then they've got to pay and sort out their overseas health cover and get that insurance in place. And then they apply for their visa. So there's all these payments that needed to be made in AUD, and all these other elements of the other end of the journey, like the insurer and the institutions, that were taking money, and it was just so fragmented. And that was just one part of their experience. Setting up their telco, making payments for accommodation. All these things are very fragmented and individual in terms of what you need to do, verify, or what proof you need to get these in place. And hence that started to evolve in this bigger picture around opportunity to build a single point for them. And the other bit is then we really started to see the global opportunity in this. I think there's pre-COVID, and it's reduced we've got back to those numbers now. 5 million students move around the world every year to study. It's predicted to get to 8 to 10 million within the next sort of 5 to 8 years. So the market is, as Dave often says, it's a niche, but it's a big niche.
Yeah, I think labels aside, the sort of genesis of the idea is that the payments is or movement of money, paying for things that you need, is quite tricky, particularly pre-departure. We're not a pure fintech. However, I like to refer to us as, sort of using embedded finance, which I think is certainly we're going to see a lot more of in the future. Sort of an emerging trend within fintech is that non-pure play finance platforms are integrating financial services, and that's certainly exactly what we're doing. But it's really hard for a student to unlock anything without the ability to purchase or pay. So it really is at the very heart of what we're trying to offer students. But I think that the sort of peripheral products and services that we offer as well, that they do need to purchase, right, are also very, very important. Yeah,
it's really
sort of, we can get caught up in the definition.
Yeah.
And we see the ability to help the student pay for things. The cross-border financing is absolutely critical. I see it more as unlocking the ability for them to have a more meaningful life on their international student journey. So they have to purchase SIM plans so they can call home.
Yeah.
So we develop the very best plans that are student focused for them. They need overseas health cover, which they need to purchase. Yeah. We can issue prepaid Visa cards. Soon we will have BSB and account numbers. We use the cross-border payments. All of these things are very carefully situated on the students or the customer journey.
Yeah.
So it's for us, it's not really about extracting revenue from an existing platform. It's about providing super relevant services at the right time in the customer journey. And it doesn't take much to imagine, when you look at the international student journey, that often is a path to skilled migration. So a student might come in, they might study English, they might do a graduate degree, they might do an MBA, and then what happens? And so, at that point, they might need a loan or a mortgage or something else, right? And at that point, we're very early in our journey, so we don't have any customers that have been through that life cycle to that degree yet. But we want to be there to offer them the relevant service at the right time. So that's kind of how I frame it. I'm a marketing guy, right? So I'm always looking for that, like, what's the unifying human truth at the core of any business proposition? And with us, it's that, moving country as an international student is expensive, stressful, complicated. Yeah. And that's clear, right? So our mission is to eradicate those challenges and issues along the way using, our platform. And whatever products are required. So, we keep on going back to the customer journey, and students are like a highly valuable cohort, not only in terms of revenue, but also the potential opportunity that they bring to the country, right? We know that international education is the third largest contributor to Australia's GDP. Despite how the government are carrying on at the moment, it looks like they're not particularly keen on international students, but it's a massive export market for us as a country. And so we really want to look after these students, and that starts before they leave home. Right?
Look, I think, we go out to the sector and we're talking to the two ends of the journey from the student's perspective. They work with a lot of, or I think it's 85% of students come through an education agent in that process. And these agents both are onshore, but also, they're based in country and send students all around the world. So we were at an event last year and we met 30 agents, and 30 agents wanted to sign up with us day one. So they see this as one of our investors called it the Trojan horse of solving for a lot of these problems. Yeah. And they're all keen to do this because they all want to focus on improving the student's experience, as Dave alluded to. And often they find they have to solve for this when they arrive in country, hand-holding to take them to get SIM plans or to get banking accounts set up and all those sort of things. To the other end of the scale, we have great conversations with the education institutions, whether it be language colleges. We work very closely with the English language sector as well, because they've got international students who arrive in every week, are on a pathway then to either vocational or higher education. So both ends of that. And the one bit I genuinely love about this sector that we're helping with is that the sector is really keen to improve the experience that these students have. So they seeing what we're building, and they're so supportive of what we're looking to do. And we've got a couple of exciting things that we're looking at building at the moment around one of the other big problems the sector and the government are having at the moment. And they're supporting us. So it's a great experience for us as a business that we go into the sector and they're going, yeah, we're behind you and awesome. We're signing with you. How do we help you do this? And the other one I would say is people like Austrade and Investment New South Wales, really keen to engage and get us into, like, for example, the India market, and taking Mist as a business to India to say, how do we get you into the sector over there? How do we get you into investors over there as well? So that from that side, that's really positive for us as a business and a group of people. Yeah, look, I think there's one of the things there is some great fintechs in this country as well, and like I think going right back to my first arrival in 2018, and I got introduced to Simon Costello and Aaron at Frankie One. Yeah. And when I saw what they were building in terms of being able to verify and identify people all around the world, I think they're plugged into 300 plus. Yeah. It was like, immediately I'm looking, that's exactly what we need to be able to bring a student into our experience and verify them to a level that we need to do for whichever feature or products or service that we have. Telco's at a different level to BSB and accounts and cross-border, for example. But we're bringing all, and the likes of Frankie One, but also, from the payment side, we're talking to the likes of Thread now, and we're working very closely with those groups, Currency Cloud. So these are people who are offshore and here. So with this global fintech or groups that we're bringing together to be best in class, to go, these are providing these individual solutions for us that we bring into our platform, and we orchestrate the experience to what we need from different fintech partners. So we are using several on that, and there's some great ones. And I think that's where the collaboration piece in the sector really works quite well. In the fintech sector. Maybe some further challenges with some of the sort of external to the fintech, the big institutions, but we're definitely leveraging and leaning on some of the good fintechs that are already in the country. So we worked well together, and then it was a case of like, right, we need to raise some capital to really grow it now, because we were sort of from a pitch deck to a proof of concept to now going, okay, we want to bring this to life and really get into market. So, we had some great investor meetings, some initial early investors, but then it was the people challenge. Yeah. And, that has been, I reckon, the most challenging part for us over the last, raising capital aside, which is, a day job in itself. Yeah. But the people side of it has been an incredible challenge, because the mindset that you need to have to work in a startup that, needs to grow and scale and think outside of the box and play the problem, not each other, and no blame culture and all those sort of things is a very different mindset to working for a bank or working for a corp. So when I met Dave, it was like, his experience and background of building MarleySpoon and taking that into the ASX and building, distribution and building teams was so valuable to me. Yes, we got on as well, but I think very, very quickly in our relationship with each other on this front, we just backed each other. Like,
one of the other challenges around people, though, which I think is, particularly in the startup culture, is this constant kind of tension between your funding, we mentioned both of these things, and how much you can afford to pay for people. Yeah. And I think that people really, who are going into their first kind of battle as an entrepreneur, really underestimate this. And it's a really, really hard thing to get right, because you can't extend your cash burn on your headcount too much, because it's deemed by investors to be irresponsible.
Yeah.
You know, we have the challenge that we're both non-technical founders, so we don't write code, which is quite unique really in building a tech company. That said, you know, our investors back us, they like us, they you know, there's plenty of proof around what we can and can't do. But what that does mean is that your core development team really need to be in line with the founder's vision and mission. And so that requires even more work to get them on board.
Yeah.
And then the other challenge is, and I don't know, I mean, you obviously have a much broader view on this than I do, but, you know, we offshore some of our development. So we are not only running a hyper-growth startup, but we're running an async team in multiple countries, which adds another layer of complexity, particularly when it comes to productivity and governance. So the people side of the business is intensely challenging on many dimensions. The cost, the quality, communication, location, time zones. So yeah, people shouldn't underestimate how complicated it is. And, you know, our number one value is build the best team.
Yeah.
And so we prioritize it very, very highly in the business, and it needs to be prioritized. But it's certainly very, very challenging on all of those dimensions I mentioned.
I am one that is, I'm an incredibly passionate person. I believe that if you have a passion about something, then you're going to put your effort into it and maintain that drive. And like, I'm super passionate about this whole, both the sector, what the problems that we're solving for. We're talking about the people and things. We've got a great team. We've got a really good, solid core team in the business now, and through hook or crook, and, you know, some of it has been accidental, some of it has been on purpose thing, but we've ended up with a great team. And I'm motivated every day by, you know, that it is, you know, I often say to the guys, there's no wonder what we're trying to do hasn't been done before, because the complexity of the technology and the legislation, the regulation, and cross-border and different, it's very complicated. But we're getting through it. Each day we're getting a little bit further, a little bit better, a little bit closer. So that keeps my motivation going.
When you take that laundry list of things in your email, we know what they are, right? So it's not like we're inventing the phone.
Yeah.
Right. But we know people need SIM plans.
Yeah.
You know, so for us, achieving product market fit is exactly as you described, is that we're bringing together services that exist in a way that hasn't been done before, that is much easier. So it's like an, you know, dare I say it, a bit of an Uber kind of approach. Yeah, there were taxis, but Uber was better. You can go to the bank and KYC in country. You can get a SIM plan at the airport. You can fiddle around and try and do a whole range of things. You can buy overseas health cover over here, but what no one's really doing is aggregating it and sitting that under one single source of verification. Yeah. So I think that in terms of the, you know, we're not reinventing the wheel in terms of the actual products and services, but we're making it easier and better. And it's still complicated. But I think that us achieving product market fit is hopefully easier in that regard, that we're just corralling the challenges into an easier, more manageable place. With our business, you know, we're late to the party. The problem's been around for ages, and so we're really excited to solve that problem, partnering with great people in the space.
You know, the other bit that I'm excited about is that, you know, there is some fantastic fintechs that are out there, and we're just about to partner with another one that was Fintech of the Year, Keish. We're working closely with Caleb and the team there around another solution that is for a real problem the industry's got. A real problem around genuine proof of funds for students to survive while they live in Australia. For, you know, that number keeps increasing from the government side up to $29,700 now. And we're working on we've seen this as a problem. The industry is telling us that it's a problem, and we're working on a solution. So we're really excited about that one as well, because that will be something that's not there at the moment in the market at all. So that collaboration side of it, getting together with other founders of these fintechs, these great fintechs in the country. And, okay, we've got a problem here. How can we work out to solve it? So I'm really looking forward to, continuing that collaboration with other, players in the industry and in other sectors, ed tech as well, to start bringing together other innovative solutions that we want to bring into our platform.